All right, so get this. We're diving deep into Think and Grow Rich. But hold on, this isn't just some big report.
Yeah, this is the real deal.
You challenged us with a classic, jam-packed with wisdom from like huge GE names. Think Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford. These guys built empires from nothing.
Yeah.
So we're talking about distilling their secrets to success, those mind-blowing aha moments that could totally change how you approach your goals.
Absolutely.
And hey, maybe even your bank account.
Right. It's possible. Yeah.
So what I find so fascinating about Think and Grow Rich is it's not some get-rich-quick scheme.
Right.
It's really about understanding the mindset and the principles behind achieving any goal, not just financial ones, any goal.
Yeah, and that's a really important point. Hill emphasizes that over and over again throughout the book. It's not just about money. It's about achieving anything you set your mind to.
Exactly. Hill doesn't just throw a bunch of feel-good sayings at you. Like, he spent decades interviewing some of the most successful people in history.
She did.
Right. And he distilled all their knowledge into a formula. And he's saying anyone can apply this formula.
Absolutely.
And get this, Hill claims this formula is so powerful, it could revolutionize education
Oh, yeah.
and cut learning time in half.
He was really ahead of his time in recognizing that traditional education often focuses too much on memorization
Right.
and not enough on developing the mental faculties that you actually need to succeed.
Okay, so let's jump into a specific example.
Okay.
Okay. Hill tells this incredible story about Edwin Barnes, who went from being totally broke to becoming Edison's business partner,
Yeah.
just by sheer force of will.
Yeah, just pure determination.
Now, Barnes wasn't just daydreaming about success. He took action. He literally hopped on a freight train. He had no money, no guarantee he was even going to meet Edison, but this unshakable belief that he would work with him.
And that's, that's what's so inspiring about Barnes' story is that he just had this absolute certainty. He visualized himself working alongside Edison, and that visualization fueled his actions, even when things got tough.
Right. It's like he burned all bridges behind him.
Exactly.
And that unwavering commitment, I think, is what separates those who dream from those who actually achieve.
It's about taking action, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, and Hill contrasts Barnes' story with the story of a man named R.U. Darby, who literally stopped digging for gold just 3 feet away from striking it rich.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he gave up right before his breakthrough. It's a really sad story, but it makes a very important point.
It does. Persistence is so key.
It is, and Darby really regretted that mistake for the rest of his life.
Okay, so we've got burning desire, we've got persistence. But then Hill takes it a step further, right?
Yeah.
He talks about definiteness of purpose, this crystal clear vision of what you want. And he uses the example of Henry Ford, who was determined to create a V8 engine, even when all his engineers told him it was impossible. Ford's response:
I love this quote.
go ahead and stay on the job until you succeed, no matter how much time is required.
There it is. That's just amazing.
Right.
Ford understood these principles of success. I mean, he really embodied them.
He did. And that key one, that definiteness of purpose, it's just huge.
It is, yeah. And you see this pattern over and over again in the stories Hill tells.
You do. Like, it reminds me of that story about the Chicago merchant, after the Great Fire.
Yeah.
He lost everything. But instead of giving up, he was like, nope, I'm rebuilding on that very spot. And he ended up creating the world's greatest store.
It's really inspiring.
It is. I mean, it seems like the folks who achieve great things have this unshakable belief in your vision.
Yeah. And doesn't matter what challenges they face.
Exactly. Even when they're facing incredible challenges.
Exactly. It's like that belief is what fuels them. It gives them the strength to keep going.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's not enough to just have a clear goal.
Yeah.
Hill says we also need to harness the power of imagination to make it a reality, right?
Right. And he makes a really important distinction here. He distinguishes between 2 types of imagination. Synthetic imagination,
Okay.
which is basically just rearranging existing ideas, like taking things you already know
Right.
and putting them together in new ways.
Okay.
And then there's creative imagination.
Okay. Now this is where it gets interesting.
This is where the magic happens, because creative imagination is the key to tapping into a higher source of intelligence, that wellspring of inspiration that leads to truly groundbreaking ideas.
Okay. So think of someone like Dr. Elmer R. Gates. This guy created over 200 patents.
Oh, I love the story, Dr. Gates. He was a fascinating character.
Well.
Yeah. He built this amazing laboratory specifically designed to stimulate his creative imagination.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he really believed in the power of the mind.
So is it like a muscle you have to exercise?
Yeah.
The more you use your creative imagination, the stronger it becomes.
Exactly. It's like anything else. The more you practice, the better you get at it. And Hill really believed that consciously engaging in visualization was key. Actively imagining your desired outcome.
So it's almost like you're creating this blueprint in your mind, programming your subconscious for success.
It is. It's about impressing your desires on your subconscious mind.
And this brings up another interesting point. Hill
Hmm.
talks about how Thomas Edison, despite all his incredible achievements, he only had 3 months of formal schooling.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, it really challenges that traditional notion that success is tied to formal education.
It does.
Hill really believed that knowledge is only potential power. It becomes real power when it's organized, when it's directed toward a specific goal.
He tells the story of Stuart Austin Weir, who decided to become a lawyer in his 40s, right?
Yeah.
No legal background whatsoever. But by focusing on really specific courses, he achieved that goal in just 2 years.
2 years.
It's incredible. It really highlights the point that it's not just about accumulating knowledge, it's about acquiring the right knowledge.
Absolutely. It's about knowing what knowledge is valuable for your specific goals.
And then it's about understanding how to apply it effectively.
Right.
And this is where things get really practical. Hill even compares marketing your personal services to a lawyer preparing a brief. He's saying you need to be able to articulate your skills and demonstrate the value you bring to the table.
He's saying you need to be able to sell yourself.
You do, which, a lot of people are uncomfortable with that.
They are. But Hill believed it was essential for success.
He did. He really believed in showcasing your unique strengths.
Yeah, he saw jobs as partnerships, right? Where
Right.
you're offering a valuable service. You're not just looking for a paycheck.
And there's a really important caveat here. Hill cautions against falling into the trap of getting without giving.
That's so important. It's about creating win-win situations,
Why?
making sure there's a fair exchange of value in any relationship.
It is. Whether it's professional or personal.
Yeah, you can't just take. You have to give something back.
Okay, let's talk about one of Hill's most intriguing concepts, the mastermind. He describes it as this coordination of knowledge and effort.
Yeah, it's about synergy.
It is.
It's about bringing together a group of people who can achieve more together than they ever could individually.
Right, between two or more people working towards a shared goal.
Yeah. And Hill uses the example of, Henry Ford again.
He was a master at this.
He was. He surrounded himself with some of the most brilliant minds of his time,
Right.
like Thomas Edison,
Right.
Harvey Firestone,
Yeah.
Luther Burbank.
They were quite the crew.
They were. And their collaboration played a huge role in Ford's success.
It's like that saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Exactly.
Hill even quotes, men take on the nature and the habits and the power of thought of those with whom they associate in a spirit of sympathy and harmony.
It's powerful, right?
It is. It's about the power of shared vision, collective action.
It is, yeah. When you bring like-minded individuals together, they create this environment where ideas flourish
Absolutely.
and challenges are tackled with much more creativity and resilience.
Okay, so we need to address a topic that requires a bit of nuance. Transmutation of sex energy.
Okay.
Now, I know this can be easily misconstrued.
It can, yeah. It's a sensitive topic.
It is. But it's an integral part of Hill's philosophy, so help us understand this.
Yeah, and it's important to clarify right off the bat that Hill is not advocating for reckless sexual behavior.
Okay.
Not at all. He's suggesting that this powerful energy that's often associated with physical desire can be channeled into other areas of life, like
Okay.
creativity, ambition, even spiritual growth.
Right, so it's not about denying or suppressing this natural energy, but about understanding it.
Yeah, and consciously redirecting it. It's about harnessing this powerful force within us and transforming it into something productive and meaningful.
Hill argues that some of history's greatest achievers had highly developed sex natures
They did.
and knew how to redirect this energy to fuel their ambitions.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, this is obviously a very personal thing, but Hill's point is that we all have these powerful drives within us, and it's about understanding how to use those drives.
Yeah, to channel them in a way that supports our goals and aspirations.
Okay, so even with all this talk of burning desire, clarity of purpose, the power of imagination, we still all face internal roadblocks.
We do.
Right. And Hill calls these roadblocks the 6 ghosts of fear.
Yeah. He actually dedicated a good portion of Think and Grow Rich to analyzing failure.
Really?
Yeah, he identified 30 major causes.
Well,
But for the sake of our deep dive, we'll focus on the 6 most common fears.
okay, give them to us.
All right, so the first one is the fear of poverty.
Okay, makes sense.
Then there's the fear of criticism.
Yeah, I think everyone's felt that one.
Then the fear of ill health,
Uh-huh.
loss of love, old age,
And of course, death.
the big one. Yeah.
I mean, these are fears that resonate with everyone on some level. We've all felt them at different points in our lives.
We have.
And what's so interesting is Hill argues that these fears, they're often rooted in indecision.
They are.
Okay, so when we're paralyzed by indecision, it breeds doubt, which ultimately manifests as fear.
Yeah, it's like this domino effect. It starts with that inability to make a clear choice.
So indecision is like the root, the seed from which all these fears sprout.
That's a great way to put it.
It's pretty powerful. And Hill actually shares this really compelling anecdote to illustrate this point.
Oh, yeah?
He talks about this condemned man,
Yeah.
2 hours from execution, right?
Yeah.
And the guy was surprisingly calm,
I remember that story.
right? Why?
Because he had reached a decision. He had accepted his fate.
It's so powerful.
It is. It shows that once we make a firm decision, even if it's a difficult one, the anxiety and fear surrounding that situation often just dissipate.
It's like that act of deciding frees us from the torment of indecision.
Exactly. Even if it's deciding to accept a negative outcome, it gives us a sense of peace.
Right. It's about taking back control, even if it means accepting a difficult reality. And Hill encourages us to apply this principle to all those 6 fears.
He does, yeah. He says we need to make conscious decisions to overcome them.
Like, decide to be okay without love if you have to.
Yeah. Decide to embrace old age as a blessing.
Decide to live without worry.
It's a radical concept,
It is.
but it really speaks to the power of choice. Hill believed that we often give our power away by letting fear and indecision dictate our actions.
He challenges us to reclaim that power by making conscious choices.
He does, yeah, even in the face of fear.
And that's a powerful message to end on. We'll continue our deep dive into Think and Grow Rich in the next part, where we'll explore more specific strategies for implementing these principles. Stay tuned.
It's going to get good.
Okay, so we're back, and we're continuing our deep dive into Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Now, we've already uncovered some really powerful ideas like, the burning desire thing,
Right.
the definiteness of purpose, and how important it is to use both your imagination but also like specialized knowledge. But like any journey worth taking, I mean, the road to success, it's not always easy, is it?
It's not, no. And Hill doesn't pretend that it is.
He doesn't.
He acknowledges that setbacks are going to happen. It's inevitable.
It is.
And actually, he dedicates a significant portion of the book to exploring these potential pitfalls.
He does.
The things that can trip us up even when we have the best intentions.
Right, even when we're armed with all the strategies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's not enough to just know the principles.
It's not.
You have to understand how to apply them.
Okay, so let's get into some of those pitfalls. What are some of the things that Hill identifies as major causes of failure?
Well, one of the biggest ones, and we touched on this earlier, is the lack of a well-defined purpose.
Right. It's like setting sail without a destination.
Exactly. You might end up somewhere, but it might not be where you actually want to be.
It might not.
And Hill really believed that success requires aligning your actions with a deeper sense of meaning and direction.
Right. So it's about more than just like setting career goals, right?
It is, yeah. He was talking about understanding your strengths,
Yeah.
your passions, and then integrating those into a clear purpose.
Right. So it's about figuring out like what truly drives you.
It is. It's about knowing what gives your life meaning.
And I think this ties in with another stumbling block that Hill emphasizes, which is the lack of self-discipline.
Yeah, that's a big one.
It is. It's one thing to set goals.
Right. It's another thing to stick to the plan.
It is. And to actually push through those moments of, resistance and stay focused.
Yeah. Self-discipline is like a muscle, isn't it?
It is.
It's something you have to train.
You do.
And Hill gives some really practical advice for cultivating self-discipline.
He does. Like what?
Well, he talks about the importance of developing positive habits,
Okay.
consciously controlling your negative thoughts, and maintaining a really strong focus on your goals.
Right. It's about building that mental toughness.
It is. It's about developing that ability to stay the course, even when things get tough.
Yeah. Which, speaking for myself, I know how easy it is to get distracted.
It is easy.
It is. To procrastinate or, to let those initial bursts of motivation fizzle out when things get challenging.
And Hill addresses that head on.
He does.
He calls procrastination a major obstacle to success,
He does.
a thief of time and opportunity.
He does.
And he really encourages us to take action,
He does.
even if it's in small steps,
Okay.
to avoid getting bogged down by that feeling of overwhelm that can lead to inaction.
Right. It's about making progress.
It is, yeah. However, incremental.
Okay. Rather than letting tasks pile up and become like this insurmountable mountain.
Exactly. Yeah, just take one step at a time. Now, let's go back to the fear of criticism for a moment.
Yeah, that's a big one.
It is. I think it holds a lot of people back.
It does. The fear of judgment can be really paralyzing.
Yeah. It can, yeah. And it prevents us from putting ourselves out there and pursuing our dreams.
It does.
Yeah.
And Hill actually has a really interesting perspective on this.
Oh, he does, yeah.
He suggests that if you're being criticized, it might actually be a sign that you're doing something right.
I love that.
Right? That you're stepping outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Maybe challenging the status quo, making some waves.
It could mean that you're onto something.
It could. So it's about reframing criticism.
It is. It's about seeing it not as a personal attack,
Right.
but as potential feedback, an opportunity for growth.
Right, because sometimes criticism can actually be a sign that you're on the right track.
It can.
That you're, disrupting the norm, pushing boundaries.
Yeah, you're not just playing it safe.
You're not. And this ties in really nicely with another key principle that Hill talks about, which is organized planning.
Right.
He argues that while having that burning desire is crucial, it's not enough to just, dream about it.
It's not, no. You need a plan.
You need a concrete plan.
You need a roadmap.
A roadmap to get to where you want to go.
Exactly.
And he gives specific guidance on how to create that plan.
Right, he does. He talks about breaking down those large goals into smaller, more manageable steps.
Okay, so you're not overwhelmed.
Right, and he talks about tracking your progress.
Okay, so you can see how far you've come.
Yeah. And he even suggests seeking out mentors,
Oh, yeah?
experts in your field.
Yeah.
And forming a mastermind group.
Yes, to tap into that collective wisdom.
Exactly, to leverage their experience.
So it's about taking that initial spark of inspiration, that burning desire, and turning it into an actual tangible plan.
It is. It's about making it real.
And of course, we can't forget about the importance of persistence.
Yeah, that's huge.
It is. He'll believe that most people give up too easily.
They do. They let those temporary setbacks derail their whole journey.
It's like that story of R.U. Darby, remember?
Oh, yeah.
He gave up just 3 feet from gold.
Heartbreaking, isn't it?
It is.
But such a powerful lesson.
Yeah, it's a really powerful reminder to keep pushing forward, even when we can't see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. Don't give up on your dreams.
And Hill provides so many examples of individuals who achieved incredible success through sheer persistence.
He does, yeah. Think about Edwin Barnes.
Yeah, who refused to give up on his dream of working with Edison.
Even when he was totally broke.
He was penniless, had no connections, but he had that unwavering determination.
And eventually he became Edison's business partner.
It's amazing. It's a real testament to the power of, relentlessly pursuing your goals.
It is.
Now, let's shift gears a little bit and go back to one of Hill's more, I think, controversial ideas, and that's the transmutation of sex energy.
Okay.
I know we talked about this earlier.
We did.
But it's such a unique and, frankly, thought-provoking concept that I think it deserves further exploration.
It does, yeah. And I think it's important to approach this topic with sensitivity and understanding.
It is.
Because, as we mentioned before, Hill is not advocating for reckless or irresponsible behavior.
He's not.
What he's suggesting is that we need to understand the power of this natural drive, this very powerful drive, and then consciously channel it into other areas of our life.
Okay, so not suppressing it, but redirecting it.
Exactly. It's about harnessing that energy and transforming it into something productive.
Okay, so how do we do that? What does that look like in practice?
Well, Hill believed that this energy could be redirected into things like creativity, ambition, even spiritual growth.
Okay.
And he argued that a lot of, the great achievers throughout history, whether they were conscious of it or not, they actually harnessed this energy to fuel their pursuits.
So it's about recognizing that, within each of us exists this primal force.
Yeah.
And we can channel that force into something really extraordinary.
It is. It's about understanding our own internal drives and how to leverage them. It's a different way of thinking about personal energy.
It is. It's fascinating.
It is, yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to another crucial element in Hill's philosophy, and that is the power of the subconscious mind.
Yeah, this is one of the most important concepts in the book.
It is. And he really believed that our subconscious mind is incredibly powerful,
It is.
capable of working for us or against us.
Depending on how we program it.
That's like the operating system of our minds.
Exactly, yeah.
You know?
Running in the background,
Yeah,
influencing our thoughts, our beliefs, our actions.
it is.
And Hill really stresses how important it is to consciously feed that subconscious mind with positive input.
So positive thoughts, affirmations, visualizations.
All of that, yeah.
So it's like we're planting seeds in the garden of our minds
That's a beautiful way to put it. It's about nurturing those seeds with care.
and then watching them blossom into reality. So what Hill's saying is, by consciously directing our thoughts and beliefs, we can essentially program our subconscious mind for success.
We can. It's about reshaping our inner world
Yeah.
in order to manifest success in the outer world.
And this ties in nicely with the concept of faith, which Hill actually defines as a state of mind that can be developed.
Yeah. Through autosuggestion.
Okay, so it's about believing in yourself,
It is, yeah.
believing in your abilities,
Yeah.
and believing in the possibility of achieving your dreams, even when those dreams seem really far-fetched.
Even when they seem impossible.
And Hill really believed that faith is not just, some religious concept.
No, he saw it as a very practical tool,
Okay,
a powerful force that can be harnessed for personal achievement.
he did.
And he encourages us to visualize our goals, to really see them in detail, and to believe in their attainment.
Okay, so to see it and believe it as if it's already happened.
Exactly, yeah.
It's about aligning your thoughts, beliefs, and actions with your desired outcome.
It is, yeah. And this brings us back to those 6 basic fears that Hill believed hold so many people back.
The fear of poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love, old age, death.
All of those things, yeah. And he argued that these fears are often rooted in indecision and lack of purpose. Okay.
And his advice was to conquer these fears by making firm decisions, charting a course of action,
Okay.
and sticking to it, no matter what obstacles you encounter along the way.
So face those fears head on.
Yeah, recognize them as mental constructs that only have power if we give them power.
Exactly. And he even suggests that courage can be developed.
It can, yeah, through repeated acts of bravery,
Oh,
even in small, everyday situations.
right.
It's about choosing courage over fear,
It is.
action over inaction.
Yeah, absolutely. And that brings us back to one of Hill's most, I think, compelling principles.
Yeah.
The mastermind.
Yeah, the power of collaboration.
He believed that surrounding yourself with supportive, like-minded individuals was crucial for achieving big things.
It is. And he uses the example of Henry Ford, who famously collaborated with brilliant minds like Thomas Edison,
Yeah.
Harvey Firestone, Luther Burbank. They formed this mastermind group that really propelled his success.
It did.
It really highlights the fact that we don't have to go it alone.
We don't. We can seek out mentors,
Yeah.
build a supportive network, and leverage that collective wisdom.
It can make a huge difference.
It can.
It can. Okay, let's talk about, Hill introduces this idea of the sixth sense.
Ah, yeah.
And he equates this with creative imagination.
He does, yeah.
And he's saying that it allows us to tap into a higher source of intelligence.
Yeah, it's about going beyond our rational, logical mind
Yeah.
and accessing a deeper wellspring of creativity, inspiration.
A realm of infinite possibilities.
Yeah, exactly.
So how do we tap into that?
Well, Hill suggested that the sixth sense can be cultivated through practice,
Okay.
through deliberate visualization, imagination, autosuggestion.
Okay, so it's like training your mind to perceive possibilities that might not be immediately obvious.
Exactly, yeah. It's about looking beyond the surface.
It's fascinating. So
Yeah.
he believed that this ability to tap into a higher level of awareness was a key factor in the success of, like, many great thinkers, innovators.
He did, yeah. He gives examples of people like Dr. Elmer Gates, who was this really prolific inventor, and Dr. Gates attributed his remarkable achievements to his ability to access this intuitive faculty.
So it's about developing that inner knowing, that ability to, like, see beyond the limitations of our current reality
It is, yeah.
and tap into a realm of unlimited potential.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, this is a really powerful idea. It's a very different way of thinking.
It is.
And this brings us to Hill's really powerful concluding message.
Yeah.
And that is, The human mind is capable of achieving anything it can conceive and believe.
It's such a powerful statement.
It is.
And it's a call to action, isn't it?
It
He's
is.
inviting us to embrace these principles that he outlines in Think and Grow Rich and
Yes.
to create the life that we truly desire.
He's reminding us that we have the power
We do.
to shape our own destiny,
We do.
to overcome obstacles, and to achieve success beyond our wildest dreams.
And he leaves us with this really powerful question.
What's that?
What are we going to do with that power?
Man, what a journey this has been. It feels like, I don't know, we've only just scratched the surface of Think and Grow Rich. I mean, think about it. We've unpacked so many huge ideas, from like the whole burning desire thing and definiteness of purpose to, the more kind of out there concepts like, transmuting sex energy and tapping into the power of the subconscious mind.
It's really an incredible book. Like every time I reread it, I discover something new.
It's the treasure trove of wisdom for sure.
Mm.
But I think one of the biggest takeaways for me is that, it's not just about learning these individual principles. It's about like understanding how they all work together.
Absolutely, yeah. It's not just about accumulating knowledge. It's about knowing how to apply it.
It's like Hill gave us this toolkit, right?
Yeah.
And now it's up to us to figure out how to use those tools to actually build the life we want.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah. He gives us the blueprint, but we have to take those principles and apply them to our own lives, our own unique situations.
So if we were to like distill Think and Grow Rich
Yeah.
down to its essence, what would be that key takeaway? What's the core message here? What's Hill trying to tell us?
Well, I think what he's saying is that we are all capable of achieving extraordinary things. We all have the power within us to shape our own destiny, to overcome obstacles, to create a life of like real purpose and abundance. But it takes a shift in mindset.
Right.
Yeah, a willingness to embrace certain principles and a real commitment to taking action.
It's about recognizing that we're not just like passengers on this journey, right?
Yeah.
We're the drivers. We have the power to choose our thoughts, our beliefs, our actions.
Yeah.
And when we do that, we shape our reality.
Exactly. He'll believe that the human mind is incredibly powerful. Like it can achieve anything it can conceive and believe.
Yeah.
But that power has to be harnessed, directed, channeled toward a definite purpose.
So it's not just about thinking positive thoughts. It's about actually taking those concrete steps.
Right. It is, yeah. It's about creating a plan, taking consistent action toward your goals, understanding that success is not a destination, it's a journey.
And that journey takes effort, persistence, a willingness to learn and grow.
It does. And Hill is very upfront about that. He doesn't sugarcoat things. He acknowledges that there will be challenges along the way, setbacks, moments of doubt. But he encourages us to view those challenges as opportunities for growth.
Right. So learn from your mistakes and keep moving forward, even when it's tough.
Exactly. Don't give up.
And he gives us like a whole bunch of tools and strategies to help us overcome those challenges.
He does, yeah. Like using our imagination.
Right. And auto-suggestion,
Yeah.
building a mastermind group, cultivating a mindset of faith and persistence.
It's about understanding that we don't have to do this alone. We can draw strength and inspiration from others, seek out mentors, surround ourselves with people who believe in us and support our journey.
Absolutely. And I think ultimately it comes down to like taking responsibility for our own lives,
It does.
for our own thoughts,
Mhm.
for our own actions. Hill says you either control your mind or it controls you. I mean, that's huge. We actually have the power to choose.
We do. And that choice, that decision to take control of our minds, to direct our thoughts toward what we want to achieve, that's the foundation of success. It's about recognizing that we're not victims of circumstance, but active creators of our own reality.
Man, that is so powerful
Mm.
and so inspiring. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Think and Grow Rich, I'm left feeling, I don't know, a mix of excitement and responsibility. Like excitement for all the possibilities that are out there, but also this sense of responsibility to take all this knowledge Hill has given us and actually use it, to create a life that has meaning and purpose, a life of like, real abundance and fulfillment.
Yeah, it's a call to action.
It is. It is.
Hill is challenging us to step up and create the life that we want.
Well, it's been fantastic exploring these like timeless principles with you. I have a feeling we'll be coming back to Think and Grow Rich again and again.
Oh, absolutely. There's so much depth there. It's a book that you can keep coming back to and always find something new.
It is. And I encourage you, our listener, to pick up a copy. Read it. Reread it, explore these ideas, and see how you can apply them to your own life. The journey to success is an ongoing one, but Think and Grow Rich is such a valuable guide for anyone who's, really looking to unlock their full potential and create a life of, real meaning, real
Mm,
achievement.
it is.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. And remember, the power to create the life you want, it's within you. So go make it happen.